I got a name for you.
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, no. Why is he everywhere? Is he watching us right now?
Mark Zuckerberg has been on a lot of random podcasts recently, and his rebrand has just been, to me, entertaining.
It's been weird, that's for sure. He's like cool guying it, but then like every conversation he starts with, it feels like a middle schooler's approximation of like being an adult.
Being normal.
It's like, hey, what do you do? Oh, I just beat people up. Like he mentions beating people up like all the time. It's because he does
jujitsu.
Jujitsu.
It's like his cool guy thing. With Joe Rogan, he talked about jujitsu and bow hunting.
Oh, I didn't watch the Joe Rogan one.
Yeah, dude.
That's
he was
crazy.
talking about shooting boars in Hawaii with his bow and arrow. But then the funny thing is Joe Rogan knows all about bows.
Yeah.
And Joe's like, what type of bow do you have? He had no clue. So 2 podcasts recently that had very different perceptions, very different comment sections.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg was on Theo Vaughn. Hilarious as always.
It's so awkward. First, you showed me the clip of literally the first 2 seconds of the podcast is the most awkward thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's like, why are you acting like coffee is some crazy thing you've never heard of? And then he was on Colin and Samir, and then Mr. Beast came in. And the comments for that, we're big Colin and Samir fans. The comments for that, it wasn't received very well.
It was funny because that was an older one. As of time of recording, that one came out like probably a month or so ago.
Yeah, and Theo Vaughn and Zuckerberg was like last week.
Yeah, about a month or so ago, that episode dropped, and I hadn't watched it. So I started listening to it, like just audio-wise. And I was like, this feels kind of funky.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. I actually didn't think anything of it. And then seeing the perception of people, I kind of get what people are saying, but it was like, wow. So
yeah, and then I went to YouTube to watch it because I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see it because I switched from only listening to YouTube, and I started checking out the comments, and I was like, wow, this is like a drastically different.
Oh, it's rough. Yeah,
perception from what I expected.
So
but it did feel awkward. It felt clunky. Yeah.
So let's start with some comments from Theo Vaughn's podcast with Mark Zuckerberg.
Theo Vaughn's side.
Theo is on the craziest guest run of all time. That's more towards Theo.
That's facts, though.
Mark got the glasses translating Theo and telling him when to laugh. So he had smart glasses on.
He did have smart glasses
So this guy is basically saying that his glasses are telling him when he should laugh at Theo because he socially doesn't know what to do.
Did you say that there was an edit where somebody was telling him when to laugh and say something normal about the coffee?
No, coffee's normal, Mark.
The coffee's normal, Mark.
Theo hit Mark with that coffee question before his language pack was fully loaded.
I like that he quickly answers like no. And then just doesn't say anything.
It's like, we're talking about coffee. This one's in quotes. Mark, keep your arms at least 30 inches apart at all times to display an open and welcoming disposition. Drinking coffee recreationally on vacations is an amazing statement. Theo will probably have the new Pope on his next podcast. So there's some that are about Mark and some that are just about all the guests Theo's having.
That's really funny that, I mean, they were definitely poking fun at Mark the whole time, which is fine because that's also Theo's audience.
Yeah.
But also like, it was still a lot about Theo. In a positive light, which is like, oh yeah, this is dope. Theo's like having these crazy guests. That's super cool. So the positivity coming from his fans about him.
Yeah, because people love Theo right now. I'm just going to read through these. This feels like 2 guys trapped in an elevator. Just awkward.
It did feel like 2 guys trapped in an elevator.
I can feel my data being collected just by watching this.
Yeah.
I remember when Theo had less than 500,000 subs, and now he's closing in on 4 million.
That's
been great to see him grow. Zuck, my wife's pretty chill. Theo, she's a chillionaire, huh?
Did he really say that?
Yeah. Zuck told his stylist to set him on relatable mode. The only thing that made this listenable was reading the comments at the same time.
I mean, that's fair.
We want Tom from MySpace. Quotes, you look like a guy who watched a YouTube video on how to be human. Theo said that to Zuckerberg's face.
That's insane.
Bro doesn't drink coffee. He drinks WD-40.
It's really funny because it's like all of the comments on Theo Vaughn's, and that was probably pretty consistent across a lot of the comments, were like maybe 60-40, 60% being about how Mark is a robot and 40% being about how it's cool to see Theo doing stuff. Versus the Colin and Samir one, which I texted you about it because it was so crazy how like every single comment was negative. Whether it was about Mark or about the guys was negative.
Which was weird because people like Colin and Samir.
Well, and there was a couple comments that even said, like, this is one of my favorite channels, but...
What are you guys doing?
Yeah, what are you guys doing? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's read some comments from that one. First one up, Nightmare Blunt Rotation.
Which is hilarious.
Everyone staring directly into the camera makes me feel like I'm getting grilled in Congress about privacy violations.
Yeah, which is... Yeah.
I love how the whole comment section knows this is PR. Honestly, watching this channel now feels like walking into a seemingly local restaurant and then realizing it is a food chain.
So I think I sent you that one.
You sent me that one.
Which is pretty crazy. I love Colin and Samir. You love Colin and Samir. But I don't necessarily disagree with that statement.
How that episode felt. So cool that small business owners like Mark Zuckerberg got the opportunity to talk to big creators Colin and Samir.
That's pretty funny.
I've loved you guys for a long time, but I have to say the unwillingness to press or question Mark on some truly critical issues is deeply disappointing.
Which, yeah, they tend to ask hard questions. Basically, until Jimmy got there, it felt very, like, sterile.
Jimmy mixed it up well.
Yeah, he did.
So that leads to the next comment. You know it's bad when Mr. Beast is the most normal person in the video.
Which is very true.
Billionaire Public Image Podcast is here. I love the channel's success, and it feels like as the guests get bigger, your ability to challenge guests in interviews decreases.
And that is a really good point in comparison to the Theo Von episode.
Theo was still just being himself.
Yeah,
That's
Theo
the beauty
was
of
Theo was just doing his thing.
And he just does it.
Whereas Colin and Samir didn't feel like a normal Colin and Samir episode. It felt really weird.
A little distant, a little corporate.
But it's also telling that the comment section reflects that gut feeling from us as we're watching it.
Yeah, and this one, comments are absolutely passing the vibe check.
Yeah, 100%.
So that comment is just showing like everybody's kind of feeling the same way. We got another one. This interview is the exact opposite of how I usually feel during a Colin and Samir conversation. This is uncomfortable. It's like a quote. Mark, our business isn't driven by advertising. LOL. Ad revenue is 97% of Facebook's revenue. Bro, just straight up lying straight to the camera.
Yeah, he said that in that interview, and I was like, what? I don't think that's right. In my mind, I'm like,
there's no way.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Because what are you doing?
Like, I mean, Meta has other sources now, but
Meta has like business, like the Meta business stuff, and like
I think Meta's just like gone down, honestly, because their hardware is not making them money.
Well, yeah, and that would be the only other thing I could see that would make them money is like
Oculus. They bought Oculus.
Yeah. Ads has to be the driving factor, but especially if you're looking at like Instagram and Facebook as like a collective Meta business product, like that has to be just false.
I've got two more. Is there a part 2 where you ask the important questions?
Oof, God, that's tough. That's
Another
tough.
One. Samir, are you familiar with the dead internet theory? Mark, yeah, I am dead internet theory, bro.
Oh, God. Dude, yeah, he did ask that question, and Mark didn't really answer it. Do you know what the dead internet theory is?
Not really.
So the dead internet theory is that the majority of the internet is either unused blogs space that's just like stuff that's existing, or it's bots talking to each other. Like 90% of the internet is being ran by bots feeding into each other, and there's no actual human interact.
Which we know that's not fully true, but the percentage.
The percentage, yeah.
No, that's interesting. To land the plane here, I mean, I think what this shows is regardless of how tight you are with your community, with your audience, like your audience can sniff out BS.
Oh, yeah, dude.
So if you put out a video like this one that isn't connecting with the audience how a normal video does, it feels more corporate-y, that doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
It's going to be sniffed out. The Theo one clearly was still just Theo being Theo. It was honestly really entertaining.
It was really funny, yeah.
And the Colin and Samir one, it didn't hit the mark for their fans, for their community.